as Ryan and I sat down to look at what types of businesses we might want to cover today for deal reviews to just kind of break down the valuations and what they're asking and whether they would be a good buy, we were looking at different categories, and there's an interesting one that popped up that was outdoor services. A little bit of a kind of broad category, but we found a couple really interesting businesses that we're going to break down in the outdoor services category that are here in Central Florida. We're going to kind of just take a look at them, see what they're asking to buy them for, what kind of cash flow they have, what kind of setup they have, what's the business model, what kind of employees do they have, and just kind of break down our opinion on whether they would be a good buy or not, and what you might want to negotiate in this. So we'll just jump straight into it. I'm going to share my screen here on the first one. And this one is in Orlando, Florida, where we both live. They're doing just over $2 million a year, it says, in sales, and they're profiting 316. They're asking only 207.
Yeah, I think that these services that they're offering are pretty niche, but enticing. I mean, I've certainly seen people use these types of services before, especially since they seem to be pushing the language toward catering to pet owners. Obviously, when we see something that is doing 2 million and asking to sell for 200, that's a little confusing when I say bad, but makes you really have to think about what are they actually asking for here. We don't really do a sales to price model when we look at business and when we value them, obviously. However, normally when you're seeing a multiple on a cash flow, you're seeing an actual multiple. This is around a 1x ish area. And that's why, to me, seems like a really great business, but you're going to do quite a bit more digging. Like, is this a franchise? Are they legally unable to sell for more than this? Is there a reason that they're only going for, less than 1% of their cash flow? So I think it's an interesting concept in the sense of like what they're catering to, but also the numbers. I mean, also these numbers could just be filler numbers, as we found out. Sometimes it says 200 and you go in and you see, oh, it's actually, they want 400, and the sales was actually 1.2 and the cash flow was actually 212. So I'm interested. I like what they're doing. I do need some number clarity though.
They've been around since 2014, 3 employees. My guess would be, based on what they're asking and what the cash flow is listed as, my guess would be that the owner is probably taking a very active role in the business and is adding whatever their salary is back to the profit to get to that cash flow level. But even if that's the case, let's say they're taking 110 grand a year in salary, and it's actually only making 207 or so, 206 or something in profit, still only a one-time multiple. This is on the surface level, this is a pretty fairly priced business. On top of that, I like the business model of this. I mean, it's a very simple service. This is becoming more and more popular. These little like kind of alternative lawns where it's a fake lawn, whether it be for, like a commercial space, like a bar or something that wants a nice outdoor area for people to stand on, enjoy drinks in, or it's for someone's home yard and they have dogs, or they just don't want to have to think about the lawn or the yard or anything. I'm seeing more and more of these all over the place, and they do new installations, they replace existing ones, and they upgrade them. So I think this is a pretty interesting business.
Yeah, I certainly know that a lot of dog areas and a lot of dog schools and facilities use a artificial style turf or some sort of pet friendly turf. So I'd be interested to know what sorts of turf they sell. But again, I think it's very well priced, almost like maybe my skeptic says almost suspiciously so. So I would put money that this is a franchise model based on the wording and kind of how it looks. Because doing $2 million, with 3 guys, you're gonna have to be flying, or you're selling a very expensive product. So I'm kind of interested. I might actually look into this more and see kind of what they're saying. But I'm getting franchise vibes.
It's a good point. It could be a franchise. If it's not, I'd be quite interested, but it's listed by Craig Portman Marketing. Let's take a look at them.
169 businesses.
We're going to take a look. Sometimes you can tell whether it's probably a franchise just by looking at what else is listed. And I have to say, it is giving a bit of that vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, these are all very, I would say very well to aggressively priced businesses, priced to move, all with very good sales, great cash flows. Every single one of these is a winner, at least on the site that we're looking at. So this is kind of something that I think we have talked about, but maybe gloss over sometimes. Always check the broker listing, what you're looking at. You can get an idea for kind of who they are, what they represent, and their sort of niche. And I say niche because if they're doing a lot of just everything, they're probably a general broker and maybe not as specialized. But if you look at a guy like Patrick and you look at his listings, they'll almost always be HVAC listings, maybe HVAC plumbing or HVAC adjacent or HVAC like combos. But he's not listing this many for sale. He's moving them as quickly as he's getting them in. So always be cautious when you see somebody who has a ton of listings and they're all over the place.
So I think we're going to rule that one that it's probably a franchise. Still interested if it's not, but it does kind of give that vibe. Let's take a look at this other one though. So we've got this other one, high growth subscription based outdoor services business. So let's figure out what is the actual business model here. So residential and commercial clients enroll in recurring outdoor maintenance programs and they stay. Creating income builds cumulatively rather than starting over each season. So the services are lawn maintenance, landscape design, sod, mulching, irrigation, tree removal, leaf removal, and holiday lighting. Subcontractors handle all field work. A proprietary app, custom CRM, and dedicated call center manage operations and administration. This is all franchise.
Yep.
So these are the types of things to look for. You can see it's listed by FSDG. I'm going to almost guarantee that
Franchise Systems something group.
Yep, something like that.
It's
you can kind of tell just by looking at the listings.
They usually read like an MBA fresh out of his first courses listing these. There isn't a lot of buzzwords. I mean, you can tell this one is a very young franchise too. Started in 2021. They got 4 employees. That's a very lean machine to be doing 1.7 million on. I mean, we know dudes in HVAC who are doing 1.7 million with a 4-guy team, but that's HVAC. And also the owners are in there every single day. I think anyone who's also building a custom app, that just makes me nervous.
Well, that was my tip off that it's a franchise because a business this size, I mean, if a business this size was building a custom app, that's a little bit of a red flag. Like you're just not there yet. I mean, for a service business like this, it just doesn't really make a ton of sense. It's probably a distraction at that point until you get to the point where you're such a big business that the cost savings and the customization actually make sense for you. But the proprietary app and custom CRM and the call center all were kind of tip-offs to me that it's probably a franchise, just because those are the types of things that, a franchise is known for kind of providing. So
also, these are all things that you have in your businesses that you've worked in and, run. You found that you don't need an app. You've set up just call trees with some very, very easy and very customer, I would say almost enjoyable customer experiencing AI bots essentially that have helped people schedule, pay. Like they're very good, and you don't need an app. You just set up a tree with some AI agents.
We're just using tech that's out there.
Yeah.
You're
not building anything.
Like to be the level of size of business to need, like in the services, the home services, to be the size of business that you actually need a proprietary app and custom CRM. The average person is so far from that. It's just like, it doesn't make sense because to get that developed is probably going to be kind of a distraction. I mean, nowadays you could probably vibe code it pretty quick and get it to a decent spot, but you're better off just using a lot of the stuff that's out there and exists already most of the time.
Yeah, this is This is another one where it's too good. It's a too good to be true, and usually that's a franchise or somebody who's overselling their business. But odds are it's just a franchise system.
Let's see if we can hit one more that's a real one.
See if we can hit something that's authentic.
Let's go miscellaneous home and garden businesses. And we'll just go with something. We'll go with something anywhere. Here, this sounds pretty interesting. 7-figure cash flow, high-end landscape design firm for sale. Now that is quite fascinating, actually.
Those numbers make a bit more sense to my brain.
So this one's doing $3.5 million a year in sales. It's cash flowing 1.2. Good margins, honestly.
Yeah.
Solid margins. Rapidly growing. I'm actually in this business, not this specific one. I'm in this industry. I've got a relationship with a business that we are growth partners for that is in the landscape design and installation company. And this tracks. Like, you get to this size, like, you've got some of the economies of scale kicking in. I'm not surprised to see a margin like that. This is a pretty high asking price, but I wouldn't say it's off base entirely. Let's see. They're asking,
looks like
just under
3.8
million, 5,950 divided by 1,215, 400. So they're asking just under a 5 times multiple. It's not off base for something with 1.2 million in cash flow.
I was more like, damn, I was off by a full point. But
it's
to your point, yes,
I think there's a decent chance they get that from a private equity firm or something. I really do.
If you're coming with $1 million in cash flow, you're in that bracket of like 4 to 5x. Because you've proved it and you have it. I mean, just look at the length of this listing too. They're really, really explaining why it is the way it is, and that's not something a franchise does. A franchise wants you to get enticed. It's more of like an appetizer, and they want you to contact them so they get you in basically a sales call. This is more of the build. It's built. It's running.
You're retiring. You've just got more information about it.
Yeah,
you can kind of pick it apart and realize it's actually a real company that's going on. So, I mean, this one not going to be super relevant for the average person, but if you find something like this that has real numbers, it's got real things included, like real assets included, real solid cash flow for a decent multiple, this is the type of business that you want to be going for.
Yeah, not to knock on franchises. They're perfectly fine if you want to get one. Do your research and pick the right one. However, I do sometimes find that it's kind of frustrating to see those too good to be true numbers and then get into the system and have kind of the rug pulled out when they kind of explain why that could be what you make, or that was the average across all the owners in the country this year. And it's kind of like, okay, well, now I understand that this is just this was some playful numbers that you put out there, and while technically true, it's not exactly what this business made last year. This is giving you a 1-for-1. It made this much, and he took home this much.
Solid. I'm going to give this business an A rating. I'm in this industry. It's a great growing industry to be in, and it's a high multiple, but I don't think they're off base with it either.
No, I would agree with you. I'll give it an A. I think that they'll probably get a little back and forth on the price, but somebody will come and take this off their hands, especially if they have some more presence in the area already. This will be a natural expansion to fit into their current system, and they'll just simply keep just Lego blocking them together, just clicking them together and moving. If this thing has the power it looks like it has, it'd be a natural fit into somebody's portfolio.
That's right. Now, we do the show every Tuesday night right around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in next time to hear us yap about businesses that are for sale, maybe do a deal breakdown. Sometimes we interview people like business brokers and private equity people that have done lots of deals and hear their stories. And until the next time, we'll see you then.